Literally, it is in my top 3 of my favorite 80s movies and just in movies in general. This film has a special place in my heart. Hey, what's good, Movie Squad? It's me once again, aka the one with the movie mouth, because I break down movies, moments, and the culture surrounding them. Film isn't just entertainment. It's life with better lighting and a dope soundtrack. This episode is a direct love letter to certain films that made a timeless impact onto society. No matter what genre they were in, and no matter what generation that you were born in, these movies affected many people, so I'm bringing them to y'all as a thank you anniversary gift. These specific movies were sleepover essentials, meme worthy, and low key character development for some of us. Before I proceed, don't forget to hit the like button with your thumb, spell subscribe to your friends, and don't forget to share your insight. We like someone who doesn't rely on autocorrect when we text or when we post something, and I will not be making waffles in the morning. Grab your popcorn, silence your inner critic like it's a bad Rotten Tomatoes review, and let's dive right in. Kicking it off, it has been 20 years since Akeelah and the Bee. Yeah, I still can't believe it. I'm tripping out over thinking about that. This movie wasn't just about spelling. It was about social pressure, the inner potential, and being that kid that everybody is looking at with, don't fuck this up for the rest of us, okay? This film was released on April 28, 2006. I remember watching this movie for the first time. It moved me. I mean, just seeing Ike and Tina reuniting for the breakthrough of a star, say less. It meant a lot for me to see that particular key scene where, towards the end of the movie, she's getting the whole community together to help her practice and memorize the words and all the spelling. Y'all, this girl had a whole neighborhood doing group study sessions like it was a final exam for every single one of them. Or if you're an adult, like all your rent was due. I'm glad I had my mom helping me with my spelling when I was a kid. One of my favorite lines from this movie: our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. Damn. I mean, why did a spelling bee movie just had to hit us with a quote that made us rethink our entire existence? That quote has stuck with me ever since the movie came out, and it serves as a reminder for me that every time I look in the mirror, I tell myself to not give in to that fear, even when there's some people out there know of your potential and they try to dim your light. Not them. Don't even go for it. Enter Miss Keke Palmer, the Millennial Queen. Before the memes, before the internet caught up, she was already that girl. Her performance in this film, y'all, it just, the way she carried so much emotional weight and how she balanced that vulnerability and that screen presence at such a young age, yeah, she really did learn from Ike. She's a young Angela Bassett. Y'all agree with that? She was destined to lead films. Homegirl deserves her own franchise by now. I have been a huge fan of Kiki since Akeelah, Two Jackson VP, seeing her career grow over these past 20 years. Where she's at now, it is just phenomenal to see. She's literally one of the most memeable, quotable, charismatic people that are on the internet while making bank on her own terms.
That's a slave hymn. Keke Palmer, oh shit, they thought I was dead. Sorry to this man.
How about sorry to every person who slept on her all this time? She's been delivering. That final spelling bee scene, the pressure, the moment where she hesitates. You could feel the entire audience just holding their breath like we were the ones about to miss the word. And also, her coach, Joshua Larrabee, aka Mr. Lawrence Fishburne, this man trained her like it was Rocky, but instead of punches, it was for vocabulary. Superb acting all around for when it comes to this film. Let's also think about what this movie did for the culture, especially for young Black kids. The representation, intelligence, not being undermined of your ability to go far. It normalized academic excellence, which I'm here for. It showed community support where it's giving unity at its finest, and it made spelling bees feel like the damn Super Bowl with Kiki being the headliner. I mean, what stood out for me in this movie is how it avoided all of those African American stereotypes and how no matter what your skin color is or where you grew up in, you can do your research, believe in yourself, and you can go for it. We see that impact in how we celebrate young talent with their confidence and all all of these voices that deserve to be heard. Akeelah the Bee is part of a larger category, movies that deserve way more love. Akeelah the Bee reminds us that being different is not a weakness and that failing isn't scary. It's realizing that you might actually be destined for greatness. And sometimes we undermine ourselves thinking that we only accept what we deserve. Let's believe that we deserve the best for our lives. Whether you're out here chasing dreams, chasing goals, or you're just trying to spell restaurant, lackadaisical, or pterodactyl without having to sound it out or relying on autocorrect, we got each other's back. Just don't rely on Gemini to alter your spelling because there are some people out here who can spell without having to use autocorrect. Check out Akeelah the Bee wherever you have streaming services and let's brush up on your spelling. Speaking of iconic 2000s movies that deserved way more recognition at their time, we have to talk about She's the Man. Amanda Bynes was out here carrying an entire generation of comedy on her back during this time. Amanda's comedic timing in this movie, top tier. The physical comedy, the facial expressions, the panic spirals, the iconic delivery of lines like,
Darling, remember, shoot like you have a secret.
at the time, I don't even think people realized how much she was dominating comedy in the 2000s until we look back at it now. I remember always seeing her on TV and in her film career with Big Fat Liar, What a Girl Wants, and then she was continuing her niche in comedy, kind of close to resembling Jennifer Aniston in her early days. She's the Man was released on March 17, 2006. First of all, people forget this movie is loosely inspired by Twelfth Night, which already gives it accidental academic excellence energy, especially following Akeelah the Bee. Shakespeare probably never imagined that his work would eventually include Amanda Bynes yelling about tampons and soccer while pretending to be her brother. Well, art evolves. Not just having a young Channing Tatum appear in this movie in the same year as Coach Carter and Havoc, then becoming a leading man with Step Up, which is going to be in part 2 of my anniversary episode. Back then, She's the Man was marketed more as a silly teen comedy. And I know that my friends and I, we would just laugh and we would enjoy it. We weren't even thinking deep. Now, people analyze it through conversations about identity, gender performances, social expectations, and how performative masculinity can actually be really funny when exaggerated right. Seeing how all of it now through an evolved lens. Some movies become comfort classics because they're messy, quotable, endlessly rewatchable, and it feels like pure serotonin with a side of confusion. Fast forward 20 years later, clips are everywhere on TikTok. The memes are constantly recycled, and let's not forget, entire generations, they can quote this movie line by line, including myself. Now that is cult classic behavior. I believe a huge reason why it lasted this long was because Amanda Bynes absolutely committed to the role. There's no half-baked performances here. She fully transforms into Sebastian to the point where half the comedy comes from watching her desperately maintain this collapsing lie while everything around her gets progressively more chaotic. It's basically identity theft mixed with the CW feed for Dream. Also, the movie captured peak 2000s teen movie energy. The boarding school drama, the exaggerated love triangles. I miss the dramatic end of hanging up on a flip phone. Y'all, we need to bring flip phones back. Also, layered polos for no reason. Not my style. And guys that are somehow never noticing obvious disguises. So She's the Man may not have won Oscars, but culturally, that movie won the people. It for sure won me, and you'll catch me rewatching this occasionally and remembering the charm that is of Amanda Bynes. You know who else won the people over? An unexpected main character whose reputation is to be isolated and unlovable, at least in his eyes. He's like onions. They stink, they make you cry, or you leave them out in the sun and they get all brown, start sprouting little white hairs. In case y'all didn't get that reference, I'm talking Shrek. Now, first off, y'all, 25 years, I'm speechless. A movie that made a swamp ogre emotionally relatable, roasted every fairy tale in existence, and somehow just changed animation forever, and snatching the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature that year. So it claimed to be the best of its time. It also beat out Jimmy Neutron and Monsters Inc. Shocking, I know. This movie completely flipped the formula. The ogre is the hero. Sidekick never shuts up. The true love looks unconventional. I mean, at the time, y'all, that was huge for animation. The quotes, they're permanently embedded in society's brain. and definitely mine. I still know the lines backwards and forwards.
Blue flower, red thorns, blue flower, red thorns, blue flower, red thorns. This would be so much easier if I wasn't colorblind.
And then also,
she's married to the Muffin Man.
The Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man!
somebody once told me to say. The second people hear that line from Smash Mouth, it's over. What's crazy is how Shrek became bigger and bigger over time instead of fading away. A lot of animated movies, they stay trapped in nostalgia, but Shrek just somehow did the magic. It kept evolving with the internet culture. Honestly, part of why people still connect to this movie emotionally is because beneath all of the jokes, Shrek is actually about insecurity, loneliness, rejection, and also learning to accept yourself even when society labels you as different. I can relate to a couple of those. Shrek spends the whole movie believing that nobody could genuinely love him because of how he looks. And Fiona hides who she really is because she thinks she has to fit this perfect fairy tale image. And that emotional core from both of those characters is exactly why this movie lasted beyond the memes. And then also, we need to give the flowers out to the voice cast because they absolutely carried the film. Mike Myers as Shrek, he brought a Scottish ogre, somehow very lovable. Eddie Murphy creating literally one of the funniest animated sidekicks to ever exist. Cameron Diaz. Yo, she gave Fiona real personality beyond that princess image. And John Lithgow making Lord Farquaad hilariously petty and insecure. What makes the movie timeless is that it worked on multiple levels at once. I mean, the kids, it was definitely for the kids. Meanwhile, the adults, they were catching all of the satire, the sarcasm, and the low-key savage roasting of the classic fairy tales. Without Shrek, I kid you not, a lot of animated comedies afterward would not even exist in the same manner. 25 years later, it refuses to feel polished or fake. It's weird, it's messy, sarcastic, heartfelt, thrown with a dash of chaos, and very deeply self aware, which honestly makes sense of why society never let it go, thus, it becoming a whole ass franchise. If you haven't seen Shrek by now, what rock are you living under? Or did you not read any fairy tales growing up? Dream Shrek now. I'm not kidding. Also, as a kid, while I watched Shrek, I also played with my usual Power Ranger toys, dinosaurs, race cars, and even some gadgets while dressed in all black, pretending I was a Spy Kid, thanks to Junie and Carmen Cortez. 25 years of Spy Kids, this wasn't just a kids movie. This was a landmark in Latino representation mixed with the sci-fi chaos, gadget fever, and that pure early 2000s unhinged energy all blended together like tacos or chilaquiles or tostadas, just all of that and much more. Do you think God stays in heaven because he too lives in fear of what he created? Say what? Why did this movie randomly drop one of the hardest existential lines in cinematic history? Also, I'm gonna bring this up. Whoever designed the Thum Thums may need both a therapy session and also a raise. If they were Mexican, ¿Qué pasó, amigo? I didn't really pay attention to the dum-dums, like with that detail that much, but now those things look like somebody lost a bet in an anatomy lab. Spy Kids had me believing that the future was going to be fun. I mean, yeah, we're in 2026 now. How is it that we still don't have any of those gadgets yet? Microwave McDonald's meal packets? A press of a button and a whole meal is done. No kids will starve when they're at home. And babysitters, easy job. Put that packet in, press that button, call it a night. The watch communicators? Okay, well, you know what? We got that now with Apple Watches and Fitbits, so that gets a little bit of a pass. And now our technology is mostly surrounded around white noise, reminders to pay bills, or useless subscriptions filling up our junk mail. Come on now, we need to catch up here. Matter of respect to Carmen and Junie, the giving that sibling representation in movies is usually either one of two things. Either it's the Disney Channel argument, or it's a full-on Rocky versus Apollo Creed type of match. But these two actually felt like real siblings. They fought each other, they roasted each other, they got annoyed super quick, but they still had each other's backs. I mean, yo, that's family. That's that Latino sibling energy. I know I've dealt with that with my brothers. Can we discuss how Antonio Banderas and Carla Gugino were the hottest spy parents alive? These two had no business raising kids while just being badasses. They raised a very high standard, and them kicking ass as a family unit, we need more of that on screen. I mean, first of all, I'm down to be a family member of that. I mean, maybe I could have Machete and Salma Hayek as my on-screen parents in a feature film project. Here's the thing about Spy Kids. At the time, nobody was really doing it like this. When you research that time, it mixed action, comedy, the weird sci-fi, mixed thrown in with some family moments and chaotic visuals in a way that should not have worked. And somehow it did. This movie felt like a child's imagination after eating way too many of those fruit snacks. And I'm guilty of eating those fruit snacks a lot. And that's why originality is exactly why people are still talking about it. This franchise meant everything for Latino representation, especially for a Chicano kid like myself seeing this. It meant everything to me. The Latino family was at the center of the movie. And again, we weren't reduced to stereotypes, and they threw in bilingual moments that were normalized of Spanglish, especially with Robert Rodriguez as the director. It hits harder now. It was one of the first times that I could actually see myself in a huge action franchise without having to be that stereotype. You know, just being the side character that only shows up for comic relief, or just that cameo character that only shows up for a funny moment or to disrupt the movie. And the beautiful part of it is that the movie just never announced it. It wasn't too woke or put it right in your face. No, it just existed confidently. Now that is quite powerful. Let me tell you, kids in the 2000s were saving the world. No wonder our generation has anxiety. Maybe that's why this movie still sticks with people now. Because underneath all that chaos, weirdness, and the early 2000s green screen magic, it has heart. It also taught an entire generation of Latino kids like myself that we look damn good in those leather spy suits. Check out Spy Kids wherever you're able to stream it, and check out to see if your uncle is really your uncle. For me personally, I know one uncle that's definitely my uncle because the way he cooks, he's the closest one to get the accuracy of my abuela's rice con carne. And muy delicioso. Now, Spy Kids may have a second guess our parents. Twister had an entire generation more terrified of cows, tornado sirens, and those random weather reports. Growing up, I did not have a basement nor a safe house from a tornado. Even though in school we were trained to do that, I'm just relieved that I didn't experience a tornado attack as a child. To this day, I am still terrified of tornadoes. Released 30 years ago on May 10th, 1996, this movie was also huge at that year. I remember when I had first saw it as a kid and I realized that this movie existed, my mom could tell y'all, I could not stop watching it. I mean, tell me why I was eating popcorn and candy while watching people act all crazy and drive towards the tornadoes. That ain't bravery. That's just crazy. Before storm chasers became TikTok content creators, Twister had everyone staring out of their window during the thunderstorms like we were about to witness our tornado make landfall. Before this movie came out, tornadoes were just something that people learned about in science class. Now, after that movie, everybody acted like a part-time meteorologist, including myself. A memorable scene that stands out for me is the drive-in movie theater. That scene was peak. My own blood pressure would rise every single time that scene came up, not just because of The Shining played, but because of the lightning strikes in that scene where it shows how wide the tornado was and how close by it was to the drive-in movie theater and all those people there. Completely unexpected. Nobody saw that coming. On May 24th, 1996, a tornado destroyed a screen at a drive-in theater in Ontario, which was scheduled to show Twister later that evening. Yikes. Sounds like an urban legend from Mother Nature. And don't even get me started on the flying cow. Literally random as fuck. It did not help to see that as a kid. Now, here's the wild part. Twister didn't just entertain people. It actually increased public fascination with tornadoes and storm chasing, including myself. The number of meteorological majors in the United States increased by about 10% in the late 1990s. Storm documents started to become more popular, and even tornado coverage on TV exploded in attention with increasing viewership. This movie made weather feel cinematic. Without Twister, we probably would not get the modern obsession with storm chasing content online today. Into the Storm, that 2014 film, that movie was inspired by Twister. And now that people have seen a Category 5 or an EF5 tornado on film, a lot of people are like, oh wait, hold up, let me record this real quick. Humanity is quite fascinating, isn't it? what our mindsets go to just to have receipts that it happened. Also, shout out to Bill Paxton. He grounded this movie and he brought a lot of lovable energy with he's just the type of guy where he would risk his life chasing tornadoes, but still would remind everybody to stop for snacks. He looked out for everybody. And I feel like that's why audiences connected with him. He wasn't some untouchable hero. He felt real. R.I.P. Bill Paxton. At the end of the day, Twister wasn't just about storms. It showed obsession, about chasing something bigger than yourself and standing in the middle of chaos and still choosing to drive forward. It still holds up as that rare kind of blockbuster that it didn't just show disaster. It made you feel the adrenaline of it. Next time when you see the sky starts looking a little too dark or it feels a little too quiet, just remember, someone, somewhere is probably thinking about chasing it. Now, wherever you're able to find Twister, go watch it and really see what the fascination is. Going from surviving nature's most unhinged temper tantrum to a movie where the biggest threat is a teenager with charisma, confidence, and absolutely zero intention of going to school. I'm talking about Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Literally, it is in my top 3 of my favorite 80s movies. And just in movies in general. This film has a special place in my heart. Released on June 11th, 1986, convenient because it's right after school ends, this wasn't your regular teen comedy. I mean, Ferris and Sloane dancing in front of priceless art like the museum was their own personal music video. The parade scene, the bro hijacked an entire city parade, performed the song Twist and Shout, somehow made skipping school look like a mad skill. I just love that scene. Seeing people be united, happy, and just in that moment, they're forgetting about the life problems that they're dealing with, and they're just basking in each other's joyous energy. It's a vibe. And don't even get me started on the Ferrari Joyride. Based on my research from asking people who had grown up in the 80s, Ferris Bueller's Day Off didn't behave like other movies. At the time when all of these other movies were being released, this one, he talked to the audience directly. The main character knew he was in a movie. He found authority very comedic and was just a teen mastering high school like a video game with confidence, and he added his own flair to it. And that was very new at the time. Most teen films at that time were treating adolescence like it was a survival horror film. And we still see how that plot device has continued to this day with movies like Cinderella Story, The Duff, Mean Girls, etc. And yet, Ferris treated this like it was a vacation with bonus content unlocked. Y'all need to check out that Netflix show Daybreak starring Colin Ford as the Ferris Bueller character, but in an apocalypse. With, ironically, Matthew Broderick is also starring in that too. We also got to talk about Matthew Broderick. This role basically cemented him as just the face of effortless charm. His portrayal of Ferris committing to the whole reality is optional bit and 100% being unbothered and just being cool. That's why his performance worked. Honestly, I don't know anyone else who could have brought that energy to life the way that he did. One of my dream roles as an amateur actor is to play a character like this with that amount of charisma and confidence and energy. I mean, this film really is his best known role. And can you blame him? 40 years later, Ferris Bueller's Day Off is still everywhere. And here's what I mean by that. The skip school fantasy blueprint that are in movies now, the fourth wall break influence in modern media, Deppel, what's up? The rise of charming, anti-authority protagonists, that energy is still alive today when we see that in TikTok skits, SNL skits, vlog-style storytelling, and characters who talk directly to the camera like we're in on the joke. The director John Hughes has said, either that kid will be the president of the United States or he'll go to prison. I go with the president. The film has been parodied numerous times. It's also been referenced in many hit songs, and it has even been discussed in great lengths by scholars of its depiction of academia, youth culture, and adult characterization, and how Ferris himself was not in any way a cliche or belonged to any clique. He was tech savvy, but he was also a little bit rebellious. He had his own swag, and yet he was popular, but not put in a box. Like he saw the box as an illusion and that he just claimed his individuality. Ferris walked so modern content creators like us could sprint. I bet you if he was alive right now, he would not only be going viral, but he would probably, in my opinion, would be the most followed content creator. If I ever got a chance to step into a movie universe and play a character like that, I would just be grateful for it. Ferris Bueller is a whole mindset. He reminded us of something very simple. Life isn't about controlling everything. It's about knowing when to stop, look around, and steal the moment while you can. Because life really does move fast. In the world that we're living in today, everybody's rushing to grow up, to go viral, to figure out life, and somehow try to have fun while we're all struggling. One of my all time favorite movie lines stems from this film.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
That hit hard as a kid, and it hits hard now. And I just love how that line alone has been used as life advice, Instagram captions, graduation speeches. Maybe somebody out there used it as a breakup excuse. It teaches us to slow down, enjoy the present moment while it is happening, and live your life instead of killing the time by continuously scrolling. Appreciate what's around you before it's gone. I highly recommend y'all to watch this movie. Go watch it, even though school's out now. And finally, we're flying into the danger zone, literally, with Top Gun. A movie so influential, it basically turned sunglasses, motorcycles, volleyball, and fighter jets into a personality type. Released on May 16, 1986, first of all, Tom Cruise as Maverick, immediate star power. Early in my acting career, I have been told that I resemble Tom Cruise by a few agencies when my hair is dark, of course. And I don't know if I can match his charisma, but I hope it's at least a little bit similar. Top Gun flew Tom Cruise right into leading roles as a huge breakthrough, and it cemented his status following Risky Business, All the Right Moves, The Outsiders, and more projects. This movie is iconic for so many reasons, and I'm about to list them right now. The jets, the soundtrack, Take My Breath Away, and yes, the volleyball scene that had everybody questioning things that they were not ready to unpack yet. It also simultaneously felt like an 80s music video that somebody didn't put in their final cut and then just put in this movie. That opening sequence alone, it changed action filmmaking. Having the jets take off at sunset with Danger Zone playing in the background, talk about the pieces of the puzzle fitting together perfectly. My older brother has mentioned that this is one of his favorite films. Underneath all of this action and competition, the friendship displayed between Maverick and Goose, the movie had to remind us, yeah, there's actual stakes happening. When Top Gun came out, oh, it wasn't just a movie, y'all. It was a full-blown cultural event. I read up how this film packed the theaters. It had guys walking out of the theaters wanting three things immediately: those aviator sunglasses, a leather bomber jacket, and the confidence to wear it. Underneath all of that, Top Gun is about ego, grief, proving yourself when the pressure is sky high, both literally and emotionally. The cultural impact, massive. I mean, to this day, Top Gun is still talked about because it didn't just dominate the box office, it influenced recruitment, the fashion, and what we thought being cool looked like for years. The impact that Top Gun had went way beyond entertainment. Upon my research, I read that this movie boosted military aesthetics and pop culture. It made aviator sunglasses explode in the popularity, influenced action filmmaking for years, and it also turned fighter pilots into celebrities overnight. There actually was a rise in Navy recruitment interest after the movie was released. The Navy had set up some recruitment booths in some of the theaters because they knew that audiences were going to walk out wanting to become pilots. Which, to be honest, is one of the craziest examples of cinema influence. And yet the Navy recruitment went up by 8%. The film helped rehabilitate the military's image following the Vietnam War. It also inspired Misa Matsushima to become the first female fighter pilot in Japan following 2015, when the restriction was lifted since women were only allowed to be reconnaissance aircraft pilots at the time. Now, recently, in December of 2024, Tom Cruise was awarded the Distinguished Public Service Award, the highest civilian honor given to private citizens by the U.S. Navy for his outstanding contributions to the military through his appearance in military-related films. Decades later, Top Gun still flies high. It knew movies were supposed to feel larger than life. The sound design, the visual, the intensity, it just made audiences feel very cool watching it. And that's a lost art sometimes in filmmaking nowadays. Then count the sequel that not only brought it full circle, especially because during Top Gun Maverick was released post COVID and people were still hesitant about going to the movie theaters, this sequel was credited and responsible for bringing people back, providing a cinematic spectacle and single handedly revitalizing the post pandemic box office. And y'all are not going to believe this. It boosted the economy by pocketing $1 million a day in North America for 75 consecutive days. Y'all, it provided a consistent, life-saving stream of revenue for movie theaters that had just been struggling for those 2 years. Any movie that can make military aviation look like the greatest adrenaline rush on earth, it deserves its flowers. Also, Kenny Loggins deserves royalties from every gym workout playlist ever created. If y'all didn't watch Top Gun this past Memorial Day weekend, watch it now. I'm not kidding. What is a movie that has stuck with you deeply and why? The one that randomly shows up in your thoughts like, hey, remember me at the most inconvenient times. Think about it. We grew up collecting moments that never left us. Boomers and Gen X, they remember certain memories that have touched their hearts from the movies that they watched. And we also hold many scenes like,
My name is Jeff.
or
I don't feel so good.
movies can entertain us from an hour and a half to 3 hours long, and other times they just quietly stay with us for years to come. Whether it was spelling words, surviving chaotic spy missions, chasing storms, or skipping responsibility, these films weren't just stories. They became pieces of culture that still connect all of us decades later. And that's why cinema matters so much. If today reminded you of a movie that you haven't revisited in years, even if it's one of the movies I previously mentioned, that's your sign to go revisit it. Set some time in your day, kick back, and just rewatch whatever that movie is, and maybe learn something new about yourself along the way. Introducing my new segment where the masses have an opinion and it captures my attention, so I'm going ahead and bring it to y'all with the group chat is saying. So this group chat is saying that too many actors are getting Botox, hence it becoming a functional disability for their occupation and calling it the death of acting. Debates online are going back and forth on how cosmetic injectables are affecting today's style of performances versus the natural style of acting. Now, some of the comments that I pulled up were, it all starts with the memes. That's how we normalized it. And y'all, it is completely optional to get Botox, by the way. Which it is. I mean, I agree with that. Now, here's the unfortunate thing. Some of the actors that are being targeted for this include Anne Hathaway, Nicole Kidman, Millie Bobby Brown, Lindsay Lohan, and many more. Meanwhile, other actresses like Kate Winslet, Cameron Diaz, Laura Dern, Jamie Lee Curtis, Drew Barrymore, and more, they are all going through the natural aging process and they have expressed the natural acting that never fades away on screen. Now, here's my response. Listen. In a profession where your face is your main instrument to become another person from action to cut, while combined with the pressures of beauty trends to stay relevant and aging gracefully during the press releases and the promo, people notice. I feel that getting any cosmetic procedure, it does affect your full potential to deliver what the scene/story entails. Especially when you have range, having range as an actor is the key here. While I do say that they do have the freedom of choice to do what they want to do with their face, it's not a judgment from me. It's just I prefer the natural route, especially when it comes out where we can gravitate more towards their emotions and their characters. It just hits us deeper when we actually see it in their face and they can deliver it. The agents, the publicists, anybody that's in their circles that are telling them to go under the knife and go get that stuff done. No, let's not do that just to instill that fear in them. Let's go with aging gracefully. That's my personal opinion on it. And it's not just women, y'all. I have been asked numerous times if I've got any work done on my face. Hell no. This face is all natural and is not letting any needle, knife, or sharp tool get close to it. Nope, I am just aging naturally with drinking a lot of water, exercise, with a great skincare routine, and I don't tolerate any BS. Where do y'all stand on this? Enter the group chat. And that's a wrap. Thank you guys for hanging out with me while going on memory lane today. Do me another favor. keep laughing, keep dreaming big, and keep watching stories that move you. Because, like the movies always teach us, after all, tomorrow is another day. Gone with the Wind. And until next time, see y'all at the movies.